All right, I'd like to call to order the Planning and Economic Development Committee meeting this December 4th, 2018, it's 5 o'clock p.m. Glad to see everybody here today. We've got a packed house here at the audience. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. I'm kidding. First order of business is approval of our minutes from the September 4th, 2018 meeting.
Move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. First thing on our agenda, first presentation we have is Mr. Dave Eldridge is going to talk to us today about entrepreneurship in Oconee County. Mr. Eldridge, thank you.
Well, members of council, I appreciate the opportunity to kind of give you an update on what we've been doing for the last 8 years of my life as a volunteer, I must say, with the county. Going back just during that period of time, I want to talk a little bit about where we've come from and just give all of you a little bit of a current update, and then close it with a request that we see on something we need to be thinking about for the future. About 8 years ago, I got appointed to be the vice chairman of the Oconee County Economic Development Commission, which was a predecessor of the Oconee Economic Alliance. So I did that for a number of years, and doing that, I found that we did a good job on working on big projects, but the small business person, if they had a question or they had an idea, that there really was nowhere to go. We have chambers of commerce, but they just aren't set up to have a continuing relationship with individuals like that. So Richard and I formed a nonprofit corporation, and its sole purpose is to work with entrepreneurs and small businesses to get them up and going. We do basically 3 things. We run a once-a-month training program at Tri-County Technical College for anybody that's in that position. They're thinking about a business. They may have a small business and are struggling with it, and where do they go for advice? We teach that once a month. As I said, we wrote the program and developed it in collaboration with Clemson University and Tri-County Technical College. Ran the numbers not too long ago, and I was surprised to learn that we've had almost 2,000 people go through that program. That is a very significant number, 2,000. So the second piece of what we do is those that go through the program, if they would like to have a mentor like me assigned to them on a permanent basis, we do that. We have 5 or 6 individuals in the state that are like myself. We're all trained under a program called SCORE. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It stands for Senior Corps of Retired Executives. There's 13,000 of us nationally. We come under the U.S. Department of Commerce. We're trained monthly by them. They do background checks on all of our mentors and make sure that they're legitimate business people. And then we start working with that entrepreneur one-on-one. I have 3 businesses that I've been working with for 8 years. We meet together on a regular basis. And it's been very interesting. The biggest business that I have, we started out at about $200,000 a year in sales. This year they'll do about $7 million in sales. It's been quite a dramatic story. So that's the second thing we do. The third thing we do, we realized as we got going that the man or woman's working in their garage with their business, or they're working in a kitchen, and then they need to move somewhere else, but they can't quite afford, regular commercial stuff. So the county back then had an old building called the DSS building that they were going to push over when we built the new courthouse. Basically, it was empty. It was a real piece of work. I mean, the carpet had been there for 25, 30 years. It had never been painted. It was in bad shape. So we all worked together to get it serviceable so that a small business could come in and have an office or a manufacturing space for a very low cost. And they can be in there for 3 years to 4 years. And the reason we call it an incubator is because we hope the egg hatches and they move out into the economy with a going business. I think one of the most significant things that we've been able to do is that we can look back and we have never had one business fail. I think that's quite a remarkable thing. The second thing we do is, or I mean, along that line, is we typically have between 5 and 10 businesses in there at any given time. The mentors are in there on a daily basis. The client has use of internet, phone, fax machine, a receptionist, conference rooms, and they look like, as I say, a real business. So in the last 8 years, we have come from a long ways back. And I can tell you that there is no other county of our size in the state of South Carolina that's been able to offer that kind of a service. We've had a lot of good recognition to it. I can tell you from my old job, I spent many years as a director of economic development for the state of South Carolina. I worked for 4 different governors. And I can tell you in traveling all of the counties in the state, nobody has this that we have to offer. What I want to end on is just talking to you on county council is that we're at the stage where we need to have a little more incubator capacity, but not necessarily in Walhalla. It needs to be somewhere more in what I would call the center of the county, where it's easier for people to get to. And along that line, Janet and I have been talking about the fact that Clemson needs to have more of a presence in our county. And we see the opportunity, if we locate in the right place, that we'll have more of a draw for the students that are starting businesses, and believe me, there are a lot of them that do it. And I also work with a number of professors that have patents or ideas that they want to get off the ground as well. So we really need to have something that'd be a little bit more convenient for the draw on that end of it. So I'm going to end by just saying I've been in the economic development business for 55 years, and I have fun every day doing it. And when Richard came on board, I was kind of saying, okay, I'm going to go do something else, go play some golf. I really had a great working relationship with him. He did a great job for our county, and I can tell you that I'm having the same relationship working with Janet. We've got a real talent, had a good talent in him. I've worked with Janet for the last 2 years. We've got the things moving in the right direction. So I'll close with this. We worked real hard to have a nonprofit out of Kansas come in to the upstate for the 10 counties. The guy was here for 2 days, and he wrapped it up with a tour of our facility here in Walhalla. My email from him this morning, he was just here the other day, he said, I can't believe you guys are doing all that with practically no budget and volunteers. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Eldridge. And just so the committee knows, in case you don't, Mr. Eldridge has been doing this
Thank you. Thanks.
with no salary for the past 8 years. And so we certainly appreciate all of his, the time he's invested in Oconee County and its entrepreneurs. And I really think that we have an opportunity. I've met with some folks at Clemson University several times, and I know Dave has relationships, as does Janet, and as probably do all of us, between professors, students, and administrative staff. I think there's a real opportunity for Clemson to have a presence in Oconee County, but it needs to be closer to Clemson University. And in order for us to compete with that, it's maybe a bridge too far to ask them to locate their business in Walhalla. But if we can get something closer to Clemson University, I think we'd have a real opportunity to bring more entrepreneurs to Oconee County. And been to a lot of entrepreneurship focused events over the past few years. And what this data says is greater than 90% of the jobs are formed by small businesses. They're not these big. The big companies are important, but they do not. They do not employ even close to what the number of people that small businesses employ. So it's important that we not only help startups because it's the right thing for us to do, because we need to be focused on that, but they also are part of a very diverse economy. And the more diverse we are, the less likely that recessions and other interruptions in our economy will create huge problems around here. So it's important from a diversification standpoint also. Just wanted to say that. Does the committee have any questions or other comments?
Yeah, I'd like to echo what Mr. Kane's saying. Appreciate all that Mr. Eldridge and the entire group does. I've been to the incubator and, seen firsthand what it does. And, again, appreciate your interest in doing that and using your time and talents to do such a wonderful thing, and glad you're selecting Oconee County to not only call your home, but also to do that and help other people call it home as well. And it is tough to be a business owner in this economy, but it's a great thing. Oconee County is a wonderful place to have a business, and I found it a place that I will hopefully always call it home, and want that other opportunity out there as well. And anything we can do to make it easier and more inviting, that's what we need to do. And finding that spot and how to do it, to be able to have somebody to ask the question is the first step. And I think in reaching out to that, there's a lot of people that are great with what they do. They just don't think they have the ability to do it on their own. So having somebody like you by their side, or some of the other 13,000 in the United States, it makes a big difference. So appreciate what you do very much.
Thank you, sir.
You got anything? Okay. All right. I guess we should let Ms. Hartman go ahead and go, but I don't know if Ms. Hartman has anything to add regarding the potential entrepreneurship space. But I'll wait until after her presentation I would eventually like a motion to recommend to full council that we begin exploring potential locations in or closer to Clemson University in order to draw some of that brain over there over to the Oconee County side of the Seneca River. So, Ms. Hartman.
Thank you, Mr. Kane, and good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for the time, and I would just like to add, working with Dave as a mentor is really priceless for a lot of people in the community, and myself now gets to be included in that group. His knowledge and experience, number one, just his personality and his way of reaching people, remembering people, and being able to work through some tough decisions. He does a really good job with that. So we should feel very fortunate to have Mr. Eldridge as our chief volunteer, obviously, but also that he speaks so highly of Oconee County and really works toward that. So to speak to the incubator, another facility, I think we should take this opportunity when we have Dave still willing and able to work with us to be able to move forward with that. So I do think now is the time to be looking at that next space, because I think it's important. But what I want to do tonight is go through a quick annual report for the Alliance. You probably saw some of this at our annual meeting if you were in attendance for the entire presentation. But I would like to just speak to kind of what has happened, what the kind of the state of the Alliance is as of the end of 2018. So obviously the Oconee Alliance, you know it as a public-private partnership. So thanks to the county for recognizing the importance of economic development in the community and how vital that is to help diversify our economy and work with our existing industry. But in addition, we have, at the end of 2018, 75 investors. So when we talk about the public-private partnership, there are 75 investors who have recognized what we do is important in the community, and they want to be a part of that. The list of those 75 is on the back of the document that I gave you as far as the trends report. On the very back page of that is a list of our 75 investors. They range from small to large, but they are all people who recognize what we do in Oconee County from an economic development standpoint is necessary and vital to the success of the county. So we appreciate those investors. We try to have strong relationships with those folks and make sure that we're taking care of moving the ball forward for everyone in Oconee County. So this next slide you see every time you see us come to a meeting, but it's always to remind the Oconee Economic Alliance is a wide umbrella, and now you have just heard where we've been a little remiss in really giving recognition to our Tri-County Entrepreneurial Development Corporation. it isn't small in this graph to show that it's smaller than the rest. It's just its logo's not as big, but they do a very important piece of what we do at the Alliance. And, working through those small businesses, as Dave mentioned, they could move into the larger industries and people that we work with from the Alliance standpoint on an ongoing basis for existing industry. So in that umbrella, of course, it's very important to recognize the relationships that we have. Economic development is about relationships within our cities, within our school district, and the different programs that we work through. But of course, economic development is about retention of our existing and recruitment of new. So I want to give an update of the numbers from 2018. So in 2018, we saw $69 million in capital investment. Years past, and historically, the number of capital investment has been 60% is existing industry, which is awesome because that means our existing industry has just decided this is a great place to do business and they'll expand here, and then 40% has been new investment. However, this year, of that 69 million, 60% actually is new investment coming into the county. So it's a little bit of a shift, and I'll talk about who those folks are in just a minute. The $69 million in capital investment equates out to 123 new jobs in Oconee County. That number might seem small, but to those 123 people, it's huge. So we continue to see the growth in the number of people working in Oconee County, and that's a huge plus for us. So to talk specifically about the wins in 2018, as we talk about diversifying our economy and looking at all sectors of the market, one of the things that we recognized in 2018 as we looked back, we have announcements in different areas of the county. So we're spreading out that wealth and we're spreading out the opportunity for folks to be successful here. So the first two are a little non-traditional for us, but we're entering into the craft beer market, a little slow on the uptake for Oconee County, but we're going to get there, and hopefully that will be a really nice industry to incorporate into our industry base. So we had Jocassee Valley, which is up on the north side of the county in Salem, made their announcement, and then Kiwi Brewing Company in Seneca with a $600,000 investment. So those two, nice to have new entry into the market and kind of get us on the map, because the young groups that are looking for that quality of life and vitality in your downtowns, Kiwi Brewing will bring that to downtown Seneca. Then you go back to some of our more traditional, RBC Aerostructures, a great company here in Oconee County, and again, with their expansion of $3.8 million and increasing their job numbers by 22, another testament to working in Oconee County and being able to keep that investment here and not have it go to another location that they had considered was a real positive for us. So we appreciate the expansion with RBC Aerostructures, and the same with JTech Coyo, with their announcement of $19.2 million and 56 jobs. Again, looking at those jobs numbers, it's great to see those numbers increasing, and I'm going to talk a little bit about our employment rate, but they are able to continue to find quality workforce, and that's a testament also to our relationship with the school district, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And then lastly, the Lakeside Lodge, which is located here in Seneca, just next to Hartwell Village, with a $45 million investment, and that project is moving forward. They've been moving a lot of dirt. We'll start seeing that go vertical here very soon. So some great things on the wins and the project development side. We're excited about some things coming in 2019. Hopefully we'll have some announcements. Maybe one more yet this year, but I don't want to steal anyone's thunder. So then moving into, as I spoke about the employment rate, so a 3.2 unemployment rate, we did reach our lowest point in 20 years back in April, but it's inched up a little bit, and that's kind of cyclical as you watch the trends from unemployment. But that 3.2 number is a challenge from the standpoint of employers looking for employees. So we have worked very hard with our partners at Tri-County Tech and the school district to help build that pipeline of employees and try to help up that skill set level for folks who are maybe underemployed and working with different nonprofits actually to get out and find out who that client base is that need. There's a lot of people that need jobs, they just don't have the skills. So we're trying to work and tighten that gap a little bit for folks. But 3.2 from a great, everyone's working, because we do have more people working this time of year than they were last year. So that's a good thing. But the bottom line is we need to increase the number of people that can work, whether that's we continue to recruit them into Oconee County because it's a great place to live, work, and play, or we up the skill sets and we continue to feed that pipeline. And again, looking at getting some exposure and some presence of Clemson University will be a huge piece of drawing those numbers and increasing that base for us. So as I talk about the workforce development issues, we're talking about the NOW program, which you've heard about. That's Nurturing Oconee's Workforce. And that's a program we started with the Hamilton Career Center in May. They graduated 19 students out of the 30 that started, so they had a pretty good retention rate. And the feedback we have gotten from our industries that participated in the NOW program is they want more kids coming into their facilities, because when they get a kid inside Schneider Electric or BASF, they have an opportunity to talk about what manufacturing looks like today and get those kids interested in something other than thinking they're just going to be on an assembly line or it's going to be dirty and who wants to work there. So the NOW program has been hugely successful. I participated in a meeting this morning with the school district, Tri-County Tech, and some existing industries, and we talked about how do we strengthen that partnership and how do we grow that exposure to manufacturing, and that even is talking about getting the instructors, the teachers into the industry so they know what to expect, and starting at a lot earlier age, not just at your high school level. So we're going to look at some new programs and initiatives coming into 2019 relative to that. And then, of course, Tri-County Tech out in the industrial park has been a huge asset for us. We talked about it for a long time, and we're so excited now we can actually walk in there. We can bring a prospect into Tri-County Tech, talk to them about what we're doing with the manufacturing Workforce Development Center and how that works and how the industries are a part of that and how they will tailor training programs to what you need. And that's been a huge positive for us. So we're very excited about the initiatives we have going on with workforce development, because as we continue to recruit new industry or expand existing industry, we've got to keep working on the workforce development issues. So those are great meetings. There's always good things that come out of those, and we'll continue to do that. What I handed out to you tonight was a copy of our trends report. This is a report we did, first issue was in 2016, and it really goes through, I commend the staff for putting this together, but it gives, kind of a where are we on the trend line on a number of demographic issues, and it looks at cost of living. This year we added an agriculture and tourism page because we recognize how important agriculture is to this economy. It's a hard thing to tongue twist. But what I've listed, we have a couple of pages of the trends report on this slide, but more importantly, in front of you, you have the document that shows what is happening or has happened in Oconee County and some trend lines as to what we might expect to see in the future. So it's a great document to be able to go back and say, what have we seen and what are some of the areas maybe we can impact with some of our efforts. So it's a nice document for you to take with you. We have lots of copies of those to share with our realtor friends as they have people coming into the area they like to know. Give us a snapshot of some of the things that are happening within Oconee County, and this trends report helps us do that. So, so I just highlighted a couple of the different areas relative to the trends report. As I talk about our existing industry, one last thing I want to mention is what we did. Manufacturing Day is nationally recognized in the, I think it's the first Friday of October, and this year it was October 5th. And what we did in our office, because again, economic development is all about relationship development and making sure people know who to call when they have a question. So on October 3rd and 4th, our office went out to the 60 different manufacturers in the county. We took 2 days because it takes 2 days to travel the county. And we delivered cookies or cakes to them, telling them how much we appreciate appreciate them in Oconee County, and just to celebrate that they are a part of our manufacturing base and how much we appreciate them. Very well received. People were just happy to see our faces, for us to get out and do that, but to also recognize how important they are to our community and to our economy. So that was just a tidbit of something that from a retention standpoint, you have to do the little things, because if they now know, hey, that's Janet, I can call her with a question, they will do that. So that's a positive piece of the puzzle. Just a couple other things to finish up. Make sure you know that Destination Oconee is still alive and well. We are continuing to work the initiatives. If you remember, a year ago I was here and talked about our project list. That list still exists. We still watch it, and anytime we have opportunity for additional funds, we'll try to put a project on the list. One of those projects was the wayfinding signs. So I wanted to give you an example, and hopefully you've seen those throughout the county. So the wayfinding plan was paid for with some residual funds from the Destination Oconee grant, but also some economic development funds, because we recognize the importance of tourism also in our community, and this wayfinding signage is going to help folks find their way to those destinations. We've received really great feedback. People are noticing these signs. There's 125 of those that will be installed throughout the county, and I think we're about 65% complete with that project. So by year end, they will all be installed and people will be finding their way. So Destination Oconee continues as with our Think Oconee initiative. You've all seen the video that we put together in the website, and we continue to promote that product throughout and that initiative throughout the year with different initiatives. Right now, we've partnered with our cities, because I think it's important that we also, from a Think Oconee standpoint, which means think local, buy local, shop local, all of those things, it's important that we give some call outs to our municipalities to keep that money local. So what we do through the month of December as a Think Oconee initiative, we offer radio spots to all the mayors, and all 5 mayors participated. So if you're listening to 94.1 or 101.7, I think it is, though, that you will hear those announce their radio spots, encouraging people to think local, buy local, and come into their communities. So we have a great relationship with our municipalities. We're going to continue working with them on different initiatives through the Think Oconee, through Destination Oconee, and the Alliance projects as we work forward. So with that, that is the report for 2018. But as we talk about the Alliance, from a retention, a recruitment, it's all about making that quality of life for folks better in Oconee County, whether that is they start a business, they work for a business, they retire here. We want to be there for all stages of their life, but we also need to recognize a business, no matter how big or small, is very important to our demographic and to our economy, and we need to support that. So I appreciate your support as we look toward the new incubator facility, and also your support throughout the year on all of our initiatives. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hartman. Does the committee have any questions about the presentation?
Appreciate all that you do. You jumped right in there, never missed a beat, and you and your staff y'all have just done a great job. And I think it speaks highly when you go into all these industries and stuff, and they know everybody, not just you, but everybody that works for you.
Yep.
And, you know, everything that y'all have done has been spot on. I really appreciate that from the all the investor side of things, and I really appreciate all that y'all are doing and the great things. Looking forward to 2019, and good things are on the horizon. So thank you for stepping in there and doing a great job.
Thank you. Economic development's a team sport, and I was remiss in announcing. So the last time I came, I asked for an addition to staff, and you approved that, and I appreciate that. And Morgan Holcomb has started. She started 2 weeks ago, and she too has hit the ground running. She's been a great member of the team. It's great to be able to go in. If you need something, you know that the staff can get it done, and we do have a good team working together, so I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ms. Hartman. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
And everything you do.
Thanks.
With that, I'd like to discuss, based on Mr. Eldridge's and Ms. Hartman's presentations, a potential recommendation to full council that Oconee County begins consideration of a second incubator location that's a little bit closer to Clemson University, in order for us to be able to capture some of that entrepreneurship activity. Does the committee have any,
I'll make that motion.
okay,
I'll second.
all right. Any discussion on the motion on the floor? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, so we'll recommend to council to begin exploring a second incubator location. Is there any unfinished business? I can't think of any, but any unfinished business? Any new business to be brought up for the committee? All right, well, that's all we've got on this agenda, and I'd like to hear a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye.